Welcome to Partnering Skills, Recognizing Motivation Styles. This is for people who want to be better partners, be more productive, and enjoy themselves in the process. If that's not you, we understand. We'll be talking today about different ways people like to be recognized, which can differ from person to person. Before we move on, there are two icons on the lower portion of the screen. Click on either one for fun facts about motivation and recognition. Did you know that giving someone a sincere compliment actually makes you smarter? That's right. Recognizing someone sincerely increases our dopamine levels, which help us with our problem solving, our creativity, and our innovation efforts. Sincere appreciation helps the giver as well as the receiver. Rewards and motivation can be thought of in two ways. Intrinsic rewards, such as a feeling of mastery as people gain confidence learning a new skill, or the psychological rewards that workers get from doing meaningful work and doing it well, or from being given autonomy to figure out something on our own. And finally, the motivation that comes when we feel strongly connected to a worthy goal or purpose. Intrinsic motivation is self-sustaining and will continue for a long time. It can also be fueled by sincere appreciation. Extrinsic rewards are those tangible rewards given for a job well done, usually things like money, gift cards, bonuses, etc. They're called extrinsic because they are external to the work itself, and other people typically control the size of them and whether or not they are given. People respond to both types of rewards, but it should be noted that extrinsic motivators have a short shelf life and must be constantly upgraded to maintain motivation, while intrinsic motivators are more self-sustaining. And most of us probably know people join the Girl Scout world for the intrinsic payoff. One of the key things to remember about recognizing others is what approach they best respond to. We're all familiar with the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But when it comes to giving recognition, we need to follow the platinum rule, treat others the way they want to be treated. Complete the short task coming up for someone you'd like to recognize in Girl Scout world to find his or her motivation style. Then we'll describe each of the styles. Think of someone you'd like to recognize in Girl Scout world and choose 10 words from those here on the screen and drag them into the box at the bottom. Once you have 10, count up the color which appears most and click that color button at the bottom. Based on the descriptors you chose, the person you want to recognize may be a thinker, feeler, achiever. Achievers are people who like to be given tasks and a lot of autonomy in accomplishing those tasks. They like to know what the bottom line is, want to get going on it as soon as possible, and like to be in charge. They often prefer things like gift cards, certificates, public awards, and more responsibility. They tend to be more task-focused and prefer to be told the end result without a lot of hand-holding. For feelers, it's all about relationships. Feelers like connection. They appreciate frequent check-ins because they want to know the relationship is good. They prefer compliments and more frequent touch points versus overall acknowledgments at the end of a project. They tend to be more social and appreciate opportunities to connect and chat with others. Tact is important to feelers. They are tactful themselves and are keenly aware of a lack of tact in others. They like to be recognized for their people skills. Thinkers are task-oriented like achievers, but tend to be more methodical and sequential in the way they approach their work. They are people who like to put together plans and think through what's needed to accomplish a task. They ask a lot of questions around process and appreciate when someone gives them time to do that. Thinkers tend to be quieter, more measured, and prefer a more low-key approach. They like when people recognize their efforts around organizing and planning, and they often prefer written, documented praise and detail. They tend to prefer one-on-one recognition versus in front of large groups. Most people have more than one style, so you may have to go with a blended approach. If you look back at the color of the descriptors you chose for the person you want to recognize, don't be surprised if you see a mix of colors. Now let's meet Maria, a volunteer manager. She's a volunteer herself and has just recently taken on this role of managing 8 other volunteers. She likes to be recognized publicly, but has noticed that not all of her volunteers respond in the same way to public recognition. Let's see if we can help Maria figure out the different ways to recognize her volunteers effectively. Here are 3 of Maria's key volunteers. Let's listen into each of their phone conversations with Maria and see what we can learn about their preferred style. Click on any one to listen in. Edit note for Rob. This is where we would drop in Debbie Williams' voice for Tammy. Now, giving Tammy's style, what might be a better way for Maria to approach her? Note to Rob, this is where we drop in Maura's voice. What do you think is the best way for Maria to approach Justine? Note to Rob, this is where you drop in Elizabeth Soto's voice. Given Maurice's style, what approach do you think will work best for Maria here? This concludes our module on recognizing motivation styles. Now that you know a little bit more about motivation styles, it might be a good time to look at how to best deliver a message of appreciation or positive feedback.